Hey everyone, I'm Brett and this is my first YouTube video. I thought I would kick things off by giving you guys a tour of my fish room, but also going over how I got into fish keeping and then also what my plans are for this channel and the hobby in general. So I have always loved aquariums. When I was a kid and I'd go to Walmart with my mom, I would always head straight to the fish aisle. One of my earliest fish keeping memories is when my dad tried to replace one of my fish that had passed away, hoping that I wouldn't notice. I had been gone for the weekend, and when I came back I noticed this new fish in my tank and my fish was missing, and so I was confused, but he ended up eventually telling me what had happened. But it just showed how my parents knew how much I cared for fish and they wanted to try to keep that away from me. And so it's kind of just a good memory to look back on now. So I had taken a long break from the fish keeping hobby, but a few years ago I fell down the YouTube fish video rabbit hole and fell back in love with it. Some of the YouTubers that I watched included MD Fish Tanks, Aquarium Co-op, and Keeping Fish Simple. I really enjoyed watching MD Fish Tank's aquascaping videos. Seeing some of those tanks he built were amazing, and it really inspired me to build my own planted fish tank. Because before that I'd never kept a real planted tank. I had always done the fake plants, the fake gravel and stuff, and so I really wanted to build my own real planted tank. So my first step getting back into the hobby a few years ago was building my own planted fish tank. I love designing a scape and creating a world for my fish. And that is still one of my favorite things about the hobby, is being able to design your own fish tank and create this really awesome world for your fish. But as I was watching some of these videos, that's when I learned about the idea of breeding fish. The idea of being able to raise fish from scratch and adding it to my community tanks or selling them for some money to pay for the hobby really just clicked with me, and I really wanted to dive into it. Yeah, my main goal now is to successfully breed and raise healthy fish. I would love it if it would be able to help to pay for this hobby and maybe someday turn it into a small business. One of my dreams growing up was always to own my own business, and so if one day I was able to open a fish shop, that would be like my ideal dream. For now, I just want to make these videos to share the journey with you and show all of my failures, my successes, and everything that I learned throughout this breeding fish journey, and find out if it is something that I can make money on, even if it's just to pay for my hobby, or hopefully in the future make it more of a living type situation. Okay, so let's get into these setups. My first 29-gallon started as a red cherry shrimp tank, but I added ember tetras to make it more active. Now these ember tetras might pick off a few baby shrimp, but the adults will be fine. And I've added moss and some branches and some hiding spots in here to help grow biofilm, but also give the baby shrimp places to hide. And so as this Christmas moss really grows out, it'll add more cover for the baby shrimp, and that'll just help even more shrimp grow and reach adulthood. My second 29-gallon is for Storbay corridors, or Sturbai, I'm still not sure how to pronounce it. I started with 10 of these because they just look awesome and they're a good beginner breeding project. I wanted something that wasn't just live bears. I wanted to practice with some egg layers, and so I thought these would be a good fit for me. And then once I get fry, I'll probably add some to my own community tank as well. I currently have 4 golden laser corridors in my tank, but I want to add some of these Sturbis to my community tank because they just look so awesome. Okay, so then the last 29-gallon tank has Dalmatian mollies. I wanted to get a 1-to-3 male to female ratio, but they were too young at the store for him to sex, so he just grabbed me 6 of them, and then I'll pair them up as they grow and I'm able to sex them. These guys are my favorite to watch. They're active, beautiful, and they always come up to the glass when it's feeding time, and also just they always seem hungry, so they're always at the glass, always swimming around and are just playful. I also picked these guys because my dad has mollies in his tank, and I was there a few weeks ago and I just fell in love with his mollies, and so I decided to pick up a few for myself and try to breed them. Okay, so then I also have 3 grow out tanks. I have a 10-gallon where I can move the pregnant molly so they can drop the fry, and then once they do that, I'll grow the fry out in that tank until they're bigger. I also have a 20 long and a 40 breeder that I'll use for the mollies, cories, and the ember tetras to grow out and as the cell tank. That's my breeding setup for right now. I do plan to upgrade and expand this setup, but I wanted to wait till I get some money in before I buy any more tanks. So on this channel, I'll be sharing updates with my breeding progress. I'll also be making some videos on tips and tricks that I learned along the way, and some aquascaping videos. So if you're interested in following along with my journey, make sure you subscribe to the channel to stay updated with all my videos, and I will see you guys in the next one.